On the podcast this week, I talked to Alannah Francesca. She is the group pastry chef for Sarud Hospitality. We discuss all things London hotels to how we can attract more females to the industry. She is full of energy from the get-go, so fasten your seatbelts. Listen out for a story involving a fruit salad. Time to rock and roll. Welcome back to the Chef JKP podcast, and on the show this week we have the one and only incredible Alannah Francesca, who is the group pastry chef of Sarud Hospitality. Alannah, welcome to the show.
Hi guys, thank you so much for having me.
So we've got loads and loads and loads to discuss, and we're super excited to have you on. The very first question I'm going to throw out to you is, tell us about your journey of how and why you became a chef.
I wasn't going to be a chef. I actually planned to go into graphic design. And I was very good at art. I failed everything in school. My GCSE results spelt fudge, so it was pretty much a calling. But I was excelling in only food technology and art, where I got A's and A's, and I got 99% in food tech. And my food technology teacher was like, please go into this, like pursue this career. And I was like, no, I hate you, and I want to be a graphic designer, and I love art. I signed up for college. I did my first day in college on graphic design, and I was like, oh my God, this is so boring. Because you're just sitting there behind a computer all day or behind an easel or whatever. And I was like, okay, this is wrong, mistake. Quit, cancelled, went up to another college and was like, can I jump on your chefing course, lastminute.com? And they're like, yeah, okay, we'll take you as a late intake. Went on that college course and then just excelled and ended up going into that journey. I was 16 and it was the best decision I ever made.
16 years old?
Yeah.
And how was the college life for you?
Oh, it was great. I mean, it was a college in Luton, which is where I kind of grew up, and I made some amazing friends there. We all worked incredibly hard. We did the college on our days off. I was working as well at the same time, and I was working at a 5-star hotel, which was local to the college, and it kind of taught us how to be in the industry, because you're doing both at the same time. You're doing service, you're doing cooking, and I was going to be a savoury chef. I was never going to be a pastry chef. My mantra was pastry chefs aren't real chefs. They just play with cream and chocolate, and they're just
oh my God.
I know, right? And they're just fake, and they're fluffy, and everything's just, oh my God, they're so poncy. I want to be a real chef. I was at the hotel one day, and the pastry chef was like, hey, we're in the crap. We've got a function. We don't have enough staff. Can you come and help us? I'll never forget, the first thing I ever made in the hotel kitchen was a creme brulee. So you boil in the cream and the milk, you've got the eggs and the sugar, you whisking it, you pouring it in, you whisking it, you pouring it back, you whisking it, and I'm just like, what is this? This is a disaster. But I stayed in pastry and I never went back to the main kitchen. And that was it, decision made, without even it being in my hands. And then I just fell in love with it.
Wow. The greatest test ever is a creme brulee, I think.
Totally, it is. Technical. If you can't make a creme brulee, you aren't a pastry chef. That's it.
So from then on, you went on to work in some of the best hotels and 5-star luxury resorts in the world. Tell us about the ones specifically in London.
So yeah, when I was 16, before I joined the colleges to do graphic design, I actually went into London and went around some hotels and said, look, I want to work for free for 6-7 weeks during my school holidays. I was 15 and a half years old. I said, look, I've got nowhere to live, but if you can put me up or find someone for me to live with, I'll work for you for free. So I went to the Royal Garden Hotel in Kensington. And Stephen Monkley was the executive chef. He's an absolute legend. Everyone knows him in the UK. And he's like, I'll take you on. He's like, we've got accommodation, so you can stay in the accommodation. I'll put you in a room and you work for me for 6 weeks. Did it, absolutely loved it. But I was still very much no, I'm going to be a graphic designer. I'm not going to be a chef. But it was kind of it was helping me decide. So I massively thought, no. He offered me an apprenticeship. He offered me 4 years at Westminster Kingsway. I turned it down. I was like, nope, I don't want to do it. I'm not interested. I'm going to go and be this amazing graphic designer. Stupid. And then after going into college, went to Westminster Kingsway anyway, worked in Luton. Then I transferred to London and I did the Landmark London in Marylebone. And then I did the Savoy and the Ritz and Stage at Claridge's. So I helped Claridge's out for, I think, a month or 2 months. And it was some of the best times of my life. There is something about London, working in London, that you can't find anywhere else in the world. And I don't know what it is, but you're drawn back. Every time I go home from here, I have to go to London for a day. Just one day, just to go to have an afternoon tea somewhere or walk around Hyde Park or whatever. So yeah, my first job was in the landmark London. I turned up there and I think I was 18 and a half years old. Walked in, I was only there for 2 months as a demi-chef de partie, and the executive pastry chef, the executive pastry sous chef, and all of his like 3, 4 number twos, whatever, they all resigned. And I was the next most senior person in charge. So for 4 months, I ran that kitchen across Christmas and New Year period, being the boss, and I was like 19.
Quietest time of the year.
Yeah, it was absolutely, I can't even tell you, it was insane. And they gave me a load of casual staff. They couldn't find a pastry chef to be replaced. So I was doing split service functions, 800 covers, 1,000 covers. We had a fine dining, we had a brasserie, we had afternoon tea. It was, honestly, it was out of this world. And all I remember is working, you know, from 5 a.m. in the morning until midnight. I would sleep in my car because I lived 2 hours away from work. So I couldn't actually get home in time. Rather, I'd just go home for a shower and come back. I was like, okay, I might as well just shower in the changing room, sleep in my car. At least I'll get 4 hours sleep rather than getting no sleep. And I did that for 5-6 months. I mean, I was just telling one of my chefs, 1 month, because I was paid overtime, because I was a junior member of staff, I took home more money than the executive sous chef of the kitchen.
I'm not surprised.
It was crazy. So that taught me how to manage a kitchen, how to manage staff, how to write rotas, how to do the ordering. And I was 19. So it was an amazing experience. I stayed there for 2 years. They got in a new pastry chef and, you know, I learned from them. But then I was still hungry and I was like, okay, I want more. But I wanted a rest because I was absolutely exhausted. So I decided to go and be a casual staff for the summer. And I was like, right, I'm going to sign up to this agency. I'm not going to take jobs. I'm just going to chill out and I'll, you know, work 1 or 2 days, take a couple of days off. It didn't work. So my first job posting was the Savoy. So I walked into the Savoy as a casual chef. After 3 weeks, the executive pastry chef had begged me about 18 times to go full time. And I was like, nope. Like I wasn't interested. I just wanted to chill out and like sleep in Hyde Park in the summer. And he's like, please. And then one day, for some reason, we had to do a fruit plate for room service. Such a random thing. And I made this fruit plate, didn't think anything of it, dumped it in room service. And as a casual member of staff, you do care about what people think about you because they just think you're rubbish. They got no idea. You have to like kind of build your own reputation. Gave it to room service. I was the only one in the kitchen. This guy walked into the kitchen and he had a suit on, a tie, and he looked so like rich and important. And I was like, oh God, like what's happened? Who made the fruit plate? And I was like, oh God, game over. I was like, what was wrong with it? I was like, there was nothing on it that was moldy. I'm sure it was fine. And he came down and I was like, you know when you're like hiding in the fridge and it walked into pastry screaming again. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to face this. Walked out. I was like, yeah, it was me. And he was like, I'm the group director of Fairmont Worldwide. That was the best fruit plate I've ever been given. And I was like, okay, like, thanks, mate. I made it really sexy with different layers and levels and whatever. And then the executive chef came in and was like, we're taking you full time, end of. And that was it. And then I was like, okay, fine, screw it. So I signed the contract, ended up being there for 2.5 years. I ran the banqueting division. I had my own little team and I was doing, 1,000, 2,000 covers a night. MTV Awards, Queen's, a Silver Jubilee, did all the afternoon tea on the boat, looked after the Brits. I've done Justin Timberlake's Halloween party, Lady Gaga was there, you name it, we did it. Eminem, we managed to get one of Eminem's t-shirts, it was crazy times, the stuff that we were doing, but it was the best time of my life.
And then Ritz and Claridge's?
Yeah, so the Ritz was a stage with John Williams. Yeah. He wanted me to come with him full time, but I wasn't really. I went in, I saw, I looked, and I didn't feel that it was for me. Like it wasn't the right kind of vibe. It was very old school. I mean, the first question he asked me was, "Are you planning on getting pregnant?" And I was like, you shouldn't really ask me that question.
You should have said yes, emotionally.
Yeah. But when you're like, dudes are like, come on, this is not like 1900s anymore, chill out. Yeah. So I was like, I don't know. I knew a lot of the chefs there. I knew Lewis and my friends had worked there. And it was like, when you just know, like if the job is for you. So I was like, no, not interested. And then I went over to Claridge's and worked with Martin Nile, great guy, and Nick. And again, it was the same thing. Like, you just know, is it for me? Like, no, it's not for me. And then, so I stayed at the Savoy, and then I got a phone call, do you want to go to Dubai? And I was like, no. And Martin, I thought Dubai was a country. I had no idea that it wasn't a country. And I was like, isn't that like where you can't have sex, and you can't do this, and you can't do that? And, I was like, and everyone's like, no, go for holiday. So I went out to Malaysia to train with the Malaysian Pastry Coupe du Monde de la Patisserie team, who just won the World Cup last year, Pastry World Cup. Amazing, training with them for 2 weeks. And I said to my friend, let's stop in Dubai on the way back. Because I've never been there, like, let's have a look. And we were so young, I was only like 20. And so we had a look. And I was like, oh, this place, like, it's nice. You know, it's shiny and it's big and there's like beaches, and it was November, so it wasn't hot. You know, I was so stupid, like, yeah, this weather's perfect. Yeah, no. So I left the Savoy in November, and then I helped my friend out in the Park Lane Hyatt Hotel or somewhere, I don't even know where it was, over Christmas, because he was in the crap and was like, oh, I need help, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm not doing anything, I'm taking a break, like, leave me alone. And he's like, no, please come and help us. Okay, fine. So I ended up doing Christmas service with him. And then I came out to Dubai January 31st. And I was...
Which year?
2012. 2012. I was 22 when I came out here. Literally packed a bag, didn't tell anyone. Literally, just even my brothers. Like, I got on a plane, I was like, guys, I'm going to Dubai tomorrow.
Bye!
Yeah, and they were just like, what? Where even is that? I was like, I don't even know. It's like, it's far away, but bye, guys. It was amazing. Yeah, got on a plane. I remember I was supposed to be picked up. So I basically already got a job at the Address Dubai Marina. So my executive chef from Savoy, Martin, he'd worked out here before and knew Nick Vass, who was the exec chef. So he's like, look, Nick will take you. You're so young to be, you know, a pastry chef at 22. Like, that's unheard of. So it's a massive risk, you know. And Martin was kind of like my dad. He was like, don't let me down, you know, don't let me down. You've done so well, like all this. I was like, no, I won't let you down, I won't let you down. So, Nick was supposed to pick me up from the airport and he forgot. So I was like stranded at Dubai airport, like, like, what's going on?
You had one job. You had one job.
I was like, I don't know where I am and I don't know, like, my phone doesn't work, and like, yeah, it was hilarious. Anyway, he turned up 3 hours late. He was at a barbecue and drunk. But it was great. He dropped me off at the accommodation and it was like this crappy single room, like, studio in Discovery Gardens. And I was like, what is this? This is not what I moved out here for. But anyway, it was an experience. Went to the Address for 2 years, loved it, because it was like, okay, basically, here's a hotel, do what you want. And to have that freedom was amazing. And I was doing some crazy stuff. I won the Guinness World Record for building a Burj Khalifa through 3 floors of the hotel in gingerbread. Like, it was insane. It was like over 1 million tiles of gingerbread individually stuck onto a styrofoam structure. I was doing I love competitions. Like, I've, you know, UK Junior Chocolate Master, Salon Culinary 4 years in a row, gold medal. Like, I love it. Doing competitions over here, pushing all the junior chefs to do competitions. Like, it was insane. So yeah, and then while I was at the Address, I got asked to start a business. Some 2 very rich guys approached me and were like, do you want to start a dessert company? And again, I was like, no, like, I don't want to start a dessert company. To be fair, they sold it to me like a frozen dessert company, and it sounded like Iceland. You know, back home in England, we have like Iceland that sell like the really crappy Black Forest cakes that are like cheap and just full of cream.
Yeah.
They were like, let's just make a frozen dessert company, and I was like, I don't want to make cakes like Iceland. Like, what are you on? So I was like, no, and they were like, I'll think about it. Okay, fine, I'll think about it. So I went to Ibiza for 2 weeks. You know, got drunk, had fun, did whatever you have to do. Chatted to my friends about it, and they're like, look, Lana, you've been at the Address for 2 years. You have nothing to lose. Like, if it goes wrong, go back to a hotel. Like, and it was true. I was like, yeah, okay, I'm 24. I've got 0 risk. It's not my money. They're investing the money. Okay, fine. Best decision ever. Like, I've managed to make some really decent decisions because the amount that I learned was insane. Pardon me. Like, you don't realise, in a hotel, you stay in one place all day. So you're very limited to your interaction with people, your, like, the knowledge that you're gaining and stuff like that. When you start your own business, you have to do everything. So I was going down to municipality, I was finding out the people I had to meet to get permits and, you know, license applications and stuff. I was handling all my own HACCP. I did my own HACCP manual. So I can literally write a full-on HACCP manual, and now I can charge people 20,000 dirhams to do it for them. You know, all these things that you drudge through to learn yourself, all of the, like, the production planning, the, you know, how to manufacture lean and efficiently, and all this kind of stuff, managing 56 chefs at one point. It was insane. You know, like, 5 years of carnage. I was supplying Etihad Airlines, I was supplying Costa, I was supplying all the hotels, I was supplying Jumeirah Group. And I was like 24. I was like, this is mad. Like, what a journey.
Yeah, so it's quite full on.
Oh, pretty full on, yeah. Like, it was 7 days a week, you know, 18 hours a day. Yeah, it did pretty much kill me. I mean, generally once a year, every year, I'd end up in hospital with something's broken or something snapped or something doesn't work anymore, or you know. And then, after that, I said to them, I'll give you 5 years. Like, I'm not good at staying in the same place for a long time. I've always been sort of 2.5 years, 2.5 years, 2.5 years and go. And I said to them, look, I know this is going to take more than 2.5 years to get it where it needs to be. So I'll give you 5 years. And then after that, we'll see where we're at. Did my 5 years. Then I travelled to Japan. I was going to go back to England. COVID happened. And Jumeirah's like, do you want to join? It's like, yeah, okay. So I joined Jumeirah in January this year. Last year. Just completed like 1 year with them. And I look after the portfolio of Sarood, and it's amazing.
Wow. So it's been quite a journey for you since you started. Now, I want to touch upon the competitions, because I know that you're super keen and you love the competitions, but I want to know, now you are coaching the UAE junior culinary team. How is that? How was that transformation for you, going from competitions to actually being a coach?
The hardest thing is watching them do it, because you're like, I want to do it. And then you're like, Lana, you're too old. Like, you can't do it anymore for the junior side. I love it. I love watching people grow. I mean, we take chefs, generally junior chefs here in this country come from their country at like 21, 22, and they're commis threes. At 21, 22, I was running a hotel. So it's really different depending on the culture and the background and where you're from. But you take these guys and, I mean, they're not kids. We refer to them as kids because sometimes they act like kids. But you take these guys and they've got no knowledge, no skill set, they're scared, they're nervous. And you keep practicing and you keep practicing and you try and give them every bit of ounce of pressure, like, and knowledge and everything that you've got. And you watch them flourish into this amazing pastry chef or chef. And that you can't replace that feeling. Like, you can't buy that with money. It's insane. Like, I've coached 2 junior pastry chefs. One is called Richie Rich, I call him, because he's like Macaulay Culkin, but the Sri Lankan version. And one is called Tiandrew, he's Sri Lankan, but he's, we call him T-Rex because his name is too hard to pronounce. And honestly, both of them now have gone on. I mean, Tiandrew's now in France, so he's working over in France. And Rushi is now, I think he's nearly a junior sous chef. You know, when I had him, he was commis. And that was only 4 years ago. You know, so the progression for their careers has been absolutely amazing. And you watch the way that they take on challenges in life. Nothing scares them. When you've been on a stage, an international stage against 26 other countries, what else can scare you? You know, and they come away from it and they're so nervous. And you're like, look, if you do great, great. If you do bad, it's also okay. You know, no one's going to die. It's all right. Just go out there, enjoy it, give it everything you've got, and bring home a medal if you can. And if you can't, okay, no worries, we'll try again. And then 9 times out of 10, they win stuff. And then you're just like, no one expected it. So, I mean, last year we came second out of like 20 countries, got silver medal. And we were shocked because none of us thought they were going to pull it off. And somehow the team came together, they pulled it off. And everybody was like, that's the highest we've ever achieved in like that kind of competition. So it was an amazing achievement. But over here, nobody seems to care.
But also, I mean, you know...
This is the thing that hurts.
Don't you think that that is also part of the coaching for you? Because they got that silver medal due to the fact that, yes, they were committed, they worked really, really hard, but also you coached them.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's also a savoury coach, so they're part of it. Being pastry, you're only a third of it, you know. But I always look after them in the sense that I type all their recipes, I make sure that their folders are presentable, you know, we make sure if it's a buffet, we've got all the buffet tags and stuff like that. But, you know, I've always been a big believer that I can give you as much knowledge as I want, but it's always going to be up to you with what you do with it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, you know. So from that point of view, it's also them. And I'm really proud of everything they've done. I mean, right now we're stuck. We can't do anything because of COVID.
Sure. So
we haven't got a team at the moment. We'll basically pick another group of kids again that are all under 25, and then we start again.
So, because you're talking quite passionately about talent, training, and all of that kind of thing. So why do you feel that it's important to train the next generation of talent, whether it's chefs or potential new business owners?
Because I think if we don't, like, this industry's going to die massively. Like, there are so many productions. What made me sad about when I had Savran, the business, is that we were doing the work for so many people and none of them had the skill set or knowledge on how to do it. Like, even the basic knowledge. And it's kind of scary when you're like, how do you not know that? Like, how do you not know how to make an Italian buttercream? How do you not know how to make a ganache? How do you not know how to make a proper creme patissiere? It's scary because convenience wins all the time. when you're strapped for cash, when you're in situations at the moment like COVID, it's, okay, money, bottom line. What's cheaper, to employ someone, watch them make 35 mistakes because they need to learn how to do it and waste all of that money during those mistakes, or buy it from a tub where it's going to be consistent and perfect? Of course, the business owner is going to buy it from a tub. So it's trying to educate people that, hey, FYI, yes, invest in the person, because if they get it right, they might take a little bit of time to break them in, but they're with you for the future. They're with you, as a long-term investment. It's really challenging.
It is quite challenging. And at the same time, the industry is not an easy one. but with that in mind, what would you say the industry could do to attract more female talent?
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, I think people have the impression of our industry that it's really tough. But I also believe that nowadays it's not as tough as it used to be. Like when you watch Hell's Kitchen, for example, Gordon Ramsay swearing, he's throwing things, he's making people believe that that's what kitchens are like. Now, yes, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we did get stuff thrown at us. That was normal. I remember when I was a commie chef, a guy kept not turning up for work. We put him in the oven and we turned the oven on. That's normal, treating people like that, taking people's shoes and sticking them in glucose and freezing their knives in blocks of ice. You do these things to people, it's a tough environment to be in. But now the world has changed, self-care, mental health awareness. A lot of people are more observant of this. So I think the industry has changed and is very much more accepting of females, but I don't believe that the females still feel that it's there. There's a lot of women that are baking from their homes, that are trying to start businesses from their homes and stuff like that. And I feel sorry for them, because I'm like, if you guys just reached out to somebody that was in the industry, or you stepped into a role in the industry, you could probably flourish. But you're probably a little bit scared, or you don't want to fully commit, or you like the fact that you can work from home, or do you know what I mean? So I think there's a lot of things that kind of do need to change, but we'll see how it goes in the next couple of years.
Do you think that it will change, or do you think it will remain the same?
I think it will remain the same. I mean, I want it to change, but I think nowadays, get rich quick is everybody's mantra. You can see how much people are making money from just Instagram posts, Facebook posts. Why would somebody go into a kitchen and work from 7 a.m. till 10 p.m. to earn a third of the money that someone else can earn sitting, posting one Instagram post? You know what I mean? That's the challenge we face. You need to find the right passionate people that want to do it. Otherwise, we're never ever going to attract, the right kind of people. And I think society and social media is making it more difficult. Absolutely,
I think that's actually the one of the biggest factors in the world when it comes to this industry. It's hard.
Yeah.
You got to love it, and it's not easy. There's no easy fix. You got to be in it to win it, and work your socks off to be successful. It doesn't come overnight, I'm afraid.
No. And people don't realise that. They come in. I mean, I've got a steward who I'm now training him to be a pastry chef, and it's when can I get the next promotion? When can I get the next promotion? And it's you've only been doing this for 6 months. We were commie chefs for years, 3 years, 4 years. You're a commie chef, and then you get the demi, then you're another demi for another 2 years, and then you get the CDP 2 or 3 years, and they don't get it, but they want to be earning the same kind of money I am, and I'm like, whoa, it's just 16 years of hustle, my friend. Chill out. So, yeah, it's a tough one.
Well, hopefully, let's see how it will pan out.
Yeah.
Now, you've been in a kitchen for quite some time. Now, what I would like to know, first of all, is what is your favourite ever food memory? Or it could have been a trip to Ibiza, for example.
My favourite food memory? I think it was... so we went camping to France, and we took a minibus. So there's loads of... I came from a broken family. So there was different parents, loads of kids. So in the end there was 5 kids, 2 different parents, and we got this minibus and we loaded it up with loads of all of our stuff, and we were called the Brady Bunch on tour because everybody's you guys are absolutely nuts. There's 4 boys and me, and then the 2 parents or whatever, and we went over to France and we were camping in France in this little mobile home. How the hell we managed to get 7 people in this mobile home, I'll never know. Obviously you're all sleeping on top of each other. And my brother got arrested because he was setting off bangers and fireworks. in the campsite when he wasn't supposed to be. It was one of the most crazy holidays ever. Like, honestly, how we all came back in one piece, I'll never know. But we had a barbecue there, and we got these sausages. I don't even know where they'd come from. And I'll never forget, we were all sitting around the table. Everyone was, you know when everyone's really suntanned, the sun is just setting, and we were literally just eating baguettes, ketchup, and sausages. And it was like the best memory ever. And every time I eat a sausage or I break off a bit of baguette, it always brings me back to that memory. Because it was just like the best holiday ever. And I don't think since then we ever went on vacation, all of us together, because we were all from all over the place and everyone was doing their own thing. I must have been about 12 or 13, I think. But that was my first ever holiday abroad. It was amazing.
So that's the meal to impress you on a date?
Oh, totally.
Essentially.
I mean, if you give me sausage, mash and peas, I'm yours.
See you later.
Yeah, job done.
So then, as a well-travelled chef, with all of the experiences that you've had, what would you say so far has been your meal of a lifetime?
Oh, that's easy. So I went to Japan with my two friends. One of my friends is a chef in Australia. We met at the Landmark in London. She was a demi, I was a demi. She'd done the similar thing to me. She was going to be a camera lady. She was training to be in media, and she literally just changed her mind, and she's like, I want to go into food. So she was doing an apprenticeship. She was older than me. She actually introduced me to travel. So we were working one day at the Landmark. I'd only ever been on holiday to France that one time. I was 18, hadn't been on holiday since. And she's like, let's book a trip to Kenya. And I was like, all right. Like, I didn't even know where Kenya was, but I was like, all right, sounds great. So we literally overnight booked the trip, went to the exec chef, we're both taking vacation, and we're going to Kenya. So random. Best trip ever. Did safari, went to this nightclub. I tried to sell her for a giraffe. They actually thought I was serious, and this guy was trying to give me a giraffe for her because they wanted to keep her. It was honestly a great time. And we've been best friends ever since. Like, we are inseparable. Her name's Sarah. Inseparable. She moved to Australia. I moved to Dubai. So yes, we're away from London, but we're still kind of, close to each other. If ever she needs to stop off here to go there, we see each other. And I haven't been out to Oz yet, but it's the next stop. But we always travel. So we met each other in Ibiza. We met each other in Japan. So she's like, Lana, we're going to go to this all-female Japanese sushi restaurant. I don't think it was just sushi. I think it was like a fish restaurant. I didn't understand. I hate fish, FYI. Hate it with a passion. Like, if it's not deep fried, I don't eat it, right? So, but she kind of was like, no, you'll like it. You'll enjoy. She's really good. She knows me. She's like, it's fine. You'll enjoy it. Don't worry about it. It'll be great. So her friend from London, Rachel, met us there, and Ollie, her boyfriend. So all four of us went to Japan, and we went to this restaurant, and it was so expensive. And when this food came out, I was looking at it like, oh my God, that looks like fish brains. Like, it genuinely looked like brain, right? Like, on a little plate. And you know how the Japanese serve everything? It's so cute and pretty. And they're all sitting there like, oh, enjoying the experience. And I'm sitting there looking at it like, oh my God, like, I'm sweating. And I'm like, oh my God, I've got to eat it. And it was only 9 people allowed in the restaurant because it was so small and so boutique. And apparently it's the only restaurant in Japan fully run by females, because they're not supposed to work, or they're not as, I don't know what it is, but it's famous for it. Can't remember the name, it's bad, I should remember the name. So we're sitting there, and this brain was like looking at me, and they're all eating away with their chopsticks and loving life. I can't even get it on the chopsticks because I'm not really acquainted, And I was like, oh, I don't want to put it in my mouth. They were like, you're right, Lana, is it nice? And I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Anyway, I ate it. I still don't know what it was, but it was amazing. Like, it tasted so weird, but so cool at the same time.
Wow.
And the whole meal was like this. Like, everything surprised me. Like, when you look at it, you know how Japanese food is very, I don't want to say slimy, but it is, like, wet, and, there's broth, and there's soup, and then there's sushi, and there's fish, and all this. It was like I think it was like a 14-course tasting menu, but every single dish that came was just better than the one before. To the point where the end of the meal was literally, like, a piece of mango. But it was like the most amazing piece of mango I have ever eaten in my life. It was so, I don't even know what they did to it, but it was just, when you're just sitting there, and I was like, mind blown. Like, this was insane. So if I ever go back to Japan, I'll find out where it was. I have the business, because they gave me a business card. It was insane.
It was in Tokyo?
Maybe. We went to Tokyo, where else did we go? Osaka, and we went to, there's one more place, what's it called? I can't remember.
Kobe?
Anyway, no, it wasn't Kobe. Kyoto.
Kyoto.
Yeah, I think it was in Kyoto, but it was amazing.
So, look, from all of these things, now I need to delve even deeper.
Okay.
Now, the next story, you're going to have to keep it clean.
Okay.
All right? But throughout you coming up through the ranks as a chef, what has been your funniest kitchen incident?
Oh, that's easy. That's so easy. And this is clean. So I was like 14 years old, and well, maybe 15. When I went to Royal Garden in Kensington, I was so new, and I was so fresh. And you know when you're even wearing a neckerchief, right? Like, who knows a neckerchief? Like, no one even knows what that is. Google neckerchief if you don't know what it is. Wearing a neckerchief, I look like a right bellend. Oh, sorry, that was a rude word. And I look like a right idiot. In the kitchen, and they were like, "Oh, we're chopping fruit salad. We need to chop fruit salad for a function. It's like a 1,000-cover function, and they're all having fruit salad. So we're all standing there chopping. It must have taken us like 6 hours. Okay, fine. Dumped, and they were in like, I kid you not, they were in like massive garbage bins. There was that much of this fruit salad. Put it away. Like, right, okay, we're done. I walked into the fridge. I slipped and I tripped and I pushed the entire bucket of fruit salad all over the floor.
No.
No. It was just like a river of fruit salad flowing down the kitchen. I swear to God. And I was like, oh my God.
Did you run away?
Oh, totally. Like, I went and hid, and then I was like, I don't know what to do. And then I went back to the kitchen and I was like, okay, I'll start chopping again. And then they were like, yeah, start chopping again. And I stood there and re-chopped the whole lot. It was honest. I have never, ever, I will never forget that till I die. Like, just watching this fruit, and it soaked me, and it was just a river. And I just remember seeing like pieces of pineapple and melon, and they were all beautifully cubed because it had to be cubed. You know, it had to be perfectly cut fruit salad. None of this just chop. No, it was all 2 cm by 2 cm cubes, just floating down the corridor. And I was like mortified. If the world could have just opened up and swallowed me, it would have been amazing.
Did you get the looks of love?
No, I got the looks of like, you're done.
Get out.
Yeah. And I don't know what to do. I'm so sorry. Yeah, that was horrendous.
That's a good one.
That was pretty horrendous.
Wow.
Since then, well, at Savoy, I made, so when I was a casual staff, I had to make 3 recipes. Well, loads of recipes, but I made a white chocolate parfait and I split it, and it was like 26 kilo of parfait. Then I had to make a Guanaja mousse, and I split that, and that was like 18 kilo. And then I had to make like a tiramisu, but it was a really, really egg-centric recipe of tiramisu. And the executive pastry chef, Martin, who now he is like my dad, but at the time he didn't really know me, he came up to me and he was like, if you fuck up one more thing, it's game over. And I was just like, okay, no worries. And you know when you're like, oh my God, I'm going to lose this job before I've even like got it, you know? And then from then I went on and proved to him that I was just nervous and, you know, brand new kitchen and whatever. Went on, proved to him that I was fine, and we always laugh about it now. He's like, do you remember when you couldn't make parfait? I was like, yeah.
Oh my God.
It's embarrassing.
But it happens for a reason, to make you even better, right?
And to be honest, the way that they treated me at the Royal Garden, when it all went wrong, nobody like screamed, shouted, slammed the door in my face. Everyone was actually quite all right. And that taught me as a manager. I was a very young manager. I was managing people at 19. When they make mistakes, it's all right.
Yeah.
No one died. Like, I learned from it. I've done it. We've done it. Everyone's done it. We're cool. Let's crack on. So you live and you learn.
It's part of the job, right?
Totally.
Part of the job. With your experience, who would you say are your top 3 culinary giants?
Oh my God. I genuinely don't know. Like, Pierre Hermé in pastry is an absolute legend. So I trained with Pierre Hermé. I won the UK Dessert of the Year competition, and the prize, like the pastry chef prize, was to go and work with Pierre Hermé for a week. And I'll never forget the competition day. I screwed everything up. I walked outside, cried because I thought I'd lost, and came in at the back of the room. They were announcing the prizes. They announced third. They announced second, and then obviously you're like, well, I haven't won this, you know. And I was literally turned around talking to someone else. They'd said my name. I hadn't heard it. And everyone was looking at me like, why hasn't she moved? Like, she needs to go onto stage. And then the guy I was talking to was like, you just won. And I was like, what? No, that was not me. I didn't win. They're like, yeah, go. I was like, oh my God, shocked. Anyway, so what I thought was a rubbish dessert turned out to be all right. Went on stage, got the prize, and then found out you're going to work with Pierre Hermé. And I was like, no way. Like, this guy is like, you know, he's a hero. So went out there and trained with him in France. Insane. speaks no English and I speak no French. So we got along by, it's great. But
baguette.
Yeah, give me some baguette and a croissant. But no, he's an absolute hero. I mean, Gabriel Palisson, do you know Gabriel Palisson? So again, he's the founder of the Coupe du Monde. What he's done, the way he's brought it forward, the fact that he chose Pierre Hermé to take over, I think is amazing. I love Gabriel Palisson. He's so old, and every time you see him, he looks like he's going to die, and he just doesn't die. I love him. Like, his stamina must be like top notch. I reckon he works out every day. And then third one, I don't know. I would probably say, I don't know. See, I love people like Cedric Gruelet, but I think he's very much, he's made his nice fruit tarts and his desserts that look like fruit. But it's like, what other stuff can you do? Are you moulding pralines, bonbons? No, you're not. I mean, Stefan Klein, do you know Stefan Klein? Like, the work that he does with sugar, he's so artistic and so creative. I would have to say that he's definitely like a hero of mine. I mean, I've always wanted to go and do a course with him. And his son, Paul Klein, is stunning with chocolate, with candy, with bonbon. Like, the kind of work that they do is on a different level. I never forget, I went out to France, to Lyon, and I saved up all my money to buy a Stefan Klein book, and then he was there and he signed it, and I was like, oh my god, like, I'm in love with you. And he's like the ugliest French guy ever, but when you're just like, heart palpitations, Stefan Klein signed my book. So yeah, probably him. There's loads. I mean, there's loads of old school guys. I love all the old school guys more than the new school guys.
Yeah.
Because I think they're just more, I don't know.
Hardcore.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I learned from and how I grew up with them. And I was very lucky. I mean, I trained with the UK pastry team from being sort of 17 onwards. So I had so much exposure to all these people at such a young age. It's been fantastic. I mean, I'm not even, 30. I'm 20. How old? Yeah, I'm 30. So to do all of that and only be this age is great, because you're like, okay, what can I do in another 10, 15 years?
Push on,
crack on and crack that whip.
What advice would you give to, basically, let's put it this way. Over the past year, you've had people who have never been chefs and have started cooking at home, doing videos, all that kind of stuff. At the same time, you've got apprentices, commis, demis coming through the ranks. What would be your advice to these people?
My advice would be, never be afraid to ask questions, and never be too proud to ask questions. You meet so many people in life that have an ego. This is my biggest pet hate in life, is egos. Like, so many people, even if they're junior, well, I can't ask a question because then everyone will think I don't know. Actually, no, I would praise you more for asking, because you're going to get it right every time by asking the question.
Exactly.
Whereas you get some people that don't ask a question, get it totally wrong, and then we're sitting there like banging our heads because they have to do it again or whatever. Even home bakers. I did this speech at Gulfood. The amount of people that came and asked me questions when I came off stage, and I was shocked that they wanted to know the knowledge that I had, because I don't think that I have, you don't think that you have knowledge, right? You know what you do, but you don't think, oh my god, they would be interested in what I know. But they were asking, like some really basic questions about business and how can I upscale my business and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, I love the fact that you're asking. And now we're linking on Instagram, and I'll help them, and they ask questions, they're WhatsApping me, what can I do? Can you get me into this hotel? It's all about building connections and network. But for me, the main thing is ask. There's people there that will always help you, but if you don't ask, you will never ever get that help.
You know what? I think that's the biggest thing I say to my entire team. Why didn't you ask the question? And then they're like, So, every time. And I think that it's worse from CDPs to sous chefs onwards, that they think they know.
Oh, I know everything. Yeah.
They don't want to look bad in front of their chef. You're not going to look bad. You're just asking, I'm just double checking. Chef, I'm just double checking. Yeah. Is this correct?
Yeah.
Easy, no?
So easy. I mean, yesterday we had a prime example. A guy he made profiteroles. I told him to put 4 profiteroles in one small tub for a takeaway. They were a lot smaller than they were supposed to be. Instead of asking, hey, maybe I should put some more in because they're small, he just put 4 in. When I picked the tub up, I was like, is there anything in there? And then I looked at it and I was like, oh my God, we can't send this. And then you have to redo it.
Yeah.
Just ask. I would have saved you all the effort. Now you're going to stand there and do it in your own time.
And wasting time.
Yep, and you will learn the hard way.
Where can people find you, see you, get hold of you if they've got questions?
They can't ever. I'm completely offline. Leave me alone. Never call me. No.
I'll put all of her details in the show notes, folks.
Okay, so I'm based, obviously, in Dubai. I am normally at Madinat. if you want to come and say hello, come and say hello to me. I have Instagram, which I really don't use. I mean, I'm not very good at social media. I've been told by so many people, you need to be posting 3 times a day, you need to do this, you need to do that. Look, it's very simple. My legacy and my, you know, my reputation, I want it to be built in real life. Because one day if Instagram crashes or the next big thing isn't Instagram and you had those 75,000 followers and then all of a sudden you don't have them, who are you without those 75,000 followers? You know, everyone in this industry knows me because of what I've done and my reputation that I've built up. So Instagram is for me to take pictures of the sunset and when I go for a run and stuff like that. And, you know, it's a bit fluffy. But if you want my Instagram, it's Alannah_Francesca. I have Facebook, which I never use. I need to sell stuff on. And that's about it, really. Otherwise, don't call me.
Or LinkedIn, right?
Yes, I'm on LinkedIn. Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn.
Right.
What's my name on LinkedIn? I think it's Alannah Doe. Anyway, you'll put it in the show notes.
I'll put it in the show notes, folks.
Yeah,
just in
if anyone
case.
wants to reach out, you can reach out. And if anyone wants to ever ask questions about cake or anything at all like that, feel free to ask. Like, I will always answer people's questions.
So, let's recap.
Okay.
First of all, your journey of how you became a chef is actually mega interesting, and the fact that you did it so young and you went through the proper way instead of being, sorry to any graphic designers, a boring graphic designer, to then make that decision is actually quite cool.
Yeah.
Then the fact that you worked in the top hotels in London and these are the classics.
Yeah.
These are the best of the best is actually incredible. The fact that then you won competitions in the UK, worked with some legends, to come then to Dubai, which is not a country, it's a city.
Yep, we've learned that. Yep. UAE is the country.
Exactly.
Yep.
To then actually become a coach is an incredible achievement, I feel. Then training different chefs, owners, attracting females into the industry, I think is a huge thing that we can all be working on, if I'm really honest. The food memory I love, I think is absolutely fantastic. Meal of a lifetime in Japan. We'll find out the restaurant later. Funniest kitchen incident, I call it the river of fruit. I mean, it's just an amazing
I still
one.
see it.
I'll dream about it later. The culinary giants, all huge, inspirational people. The advice, I think, is absolutely incredible. So, Alannah, on behalf of the Chef JKP podcast, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you here, to hear all of the things you have to say. It's been incredibly inspirational. Thank you so much for coming on.
You're more than welcome. Thank you for having me. And bye, guys. Love you all loads.